agenda, so it's kind of a demonstration of what we have. And you can interrupt me if you have questions, and if you want to know more or you have a specific use case that you want me to talk about, please do. If not, I'm going to follow this. I had a small demo at the end where I'm going to show the execution of Cypress tests through GitHub Actions and the push of the results to Xray and how we can see those on Jira project. So really quickly, and I need to remember I need to speak to the computer or else the online people will not hear me. So really quickly, I'm going to do a quick intro, talking about the concepts, the organization and the documentation. But overall, what we believe in Xray is the ability to bring visibility from the testing area towards the place where you have your project. So now where your team is working on the project, you have the ability to create tests, to manage all of the tests that you have, and all the team can see that. So the first part of it is, what is Xray? It's a test management tool that works within Jira. So it's a plugin that you install in Jira. We have cloud server and data server version, even though Atlassian is moving towards cloud, so the investment is going towards cloud. We support automated and manual tests, as you will see. We allow you to organize and plan your tests within Jira, and we allow also for you to execute those tests. Of course, we have a quote there, execute tests, because we don't really execute those tests. What we do is we ingest the results of the automation that is executed elsewhere, either on your pipeline or your automation tool, whatever. You execute those tests and then you ingest the results back to have visibility on your project. And of course, having everything in Jira, you can start creating Jira defects, and having all that information centralized will allow you to have reporting like you didn't have before, because you can connect now the requirements to the tests to the results. And to complete the offering, of course, we have a REST API and a GraphQL that are really useful for you to do your custom adaptations or your custom frameworks that at the end will push the results towards Xray. So let me just go through the workflow that we usually have in quality or in testing and how it links back to Xray. What we usually have is these phases in the workflow. That is, we usually start by writing the tests, and in here, Xray will allow you to do so by creating test cases and preconditions. Xray, we will see that all of the issue types are actually Jira issue types, and we will see the advantage of having those. In terms of organization, you will have the test sets that will allow you to organize your tests into lists. That is really useful when you have a huge amount of tests. We have also the test repository that will allow you to organize those tests in folders. Depending on the preference, you can use either of those. And then on the planning phase, you have the test plan that will allow you to plan how you will execute those tests and give you an overview about the results. And when you plan, and once you execute those, it will be gathering with test execution and sub-test executions. The advantages of having this into Jira and having Jira issue types is actually being able to add, custom fields to your Xray types, because they are Jira issue types. You can use it in filters. You can use custom fields. You can use whatever you want, exactly like you use other Jira issue types. So it's an advantage. Things like authentication, we don't care about it because we inherited everything from Jira. So all the authentication that you use for your project is inherited from Xray, and you use exactly the same that you use in Jira. So the next one, this is just an overall. I'm speaking more or less quickly. If you want, interrupt me. Even online, do so. We have test case specification. And for that, like I said, we have test cases and preconditions. So usually when you have tests, you have, user story or an epic where you define what are the requirements that you need to do for the feature to go to production. And now with Xray, you are able to create either test cases that are manual, and the test cases manual have a series of steps that you can define with an action, a data, and an expected result, and you can have as many steps as you need to. You have another type that we have allowed that is BDD tests, where you can write your tests in a Gherkin language. So you can use give and then when on directly on Jira and write those tests. If you use these types of tests, you will need to decide what is the source of truth. Either you write those tests in Jira or on your automation framework in order to have the source of truth in one of these places. And if you choose, for instance, Jira to have the Gherkin there, you will have to write that, export the feature file to your automation framework, do the code behind, execute those tests, and then you can ingest the results back. If you choose the other way around to have the Gherkin defined on your automation framework, what you need to do is export that to Xray in order to be synced and for everyone to see the same thing. And we have the generic test case. It's there just to support automation. So we have on the generic test case, the only thing that you have is a description where you have an ID that is extracted when you ingest the results back. And it will uniquely identify that test case, and every time that test case will execute, it will ship the results back to Xray. And of course, once this is linked, it will give you another dimension that you didn't have so far in Jira, that is coverage. Because now you understand that each story is or not covered by tests. And if it is, you will have the understanding if they were executed, if they were successful or not, or what's happening if they are not covered by tests. So I'm going to just go directly through the presentation, because if I start switching windows, it will be hard for me to get back. So I'm going straight to presentation, and then I'm going to do the demonstration a little bit later. Any doubts so far? No? Anyone is using test cases in Jira? Yeah? Manual ones? Yeah? Steps?
Yeah, with all the steps. And, you have to review one by one.
Yeah? Useful?
Some of them, yeah. Not at all.
Okay. So test case organization. In here, remember we have these test cases defined, linked to a user story. And what we can do is use the test repository to organize those into repos, or into directories. So you can define, I don't know, manual test cases and put all of the manual test cases there. You can define components and gather all of the same component tests under the same directory and organize that like that. And you can use also the test set. Test set is a list of tests that you can define. So I can have, I don't know, the regression test list or other lists that you find useful. And the test set is the object that will list all of the tests there for you. Once you have all specified, organized, you will actually need to start planning and executing. And this is actually the place where we're going to now. So once you have all of this defined, organized, using either test repository, test sets, you can use the test plan in order to start executing those. The test plan will allow you to define executions. So it's usually when you have a regression or, I don't know, a feature test plan that will gather all of the tests, and then you execute, and you can analyze each test plan and those executions in the view of the test plan. Instead of looking at all of the tests or one test in particular, you can have an overview of how the test plan is going with all of the tests and executions in there. Yeah, there's a nice animation where you can see we can have the 1 and 2 and 3. I was forgetting this animation. And then you can have one or several executions. So each time you execute the tests, it will create a test execution that will hold the results there, and you can have access to all of the results that you have done for that test plan. The last thing is the reporting that we have available. So once you have all this information gathered in Jira and Xray, define all of the tests, done all of the executions, you will start to have information that will give you nice hints on how the project is going overall. So we have, from the start, the availability to have built-in reports. So we have, out of the box, the overall coverage. and now I'm going to show you at least the first three. The overall coverage that will show you how a requirement or a series of requirements is or not covered by tests, and it will give you a good overview. So it's like the go-to dashboard if someone asks you, are we ready to deploy? Are we ready to go to production? So you go there, you see by priority or by component, if the tests are executed or not, what are the status of it, and you can drill down and find out details about it. You have the traceability. It's a nice one also that will give you all the information of the links between the different issue types that you have, so you can reach the epic, understand what are the user stories that are linked to it, understanding what are the tests, what are the executions, and if any bug is there or not for you to be able to trace back and forward. It's a dashboard that will show you all of those links between that. And of course, the test plans, test plan metrics, gives you views of how the test plan is going. So how many execution is there, how many tests are part of it, how many are successful, and I'm going to show you this in a moment. You can have also user-defined reports. So we have docgen and exporter, so you can use document generator, this is our docgen, to generate a report. So if you want to export something from Xray and put it on a PDF or a Word, you can use our templates that we have there that have already predefined reports that you can use, or you can use your own. So you can customize those and add fields, remove fields, add reports or anything, and you can create Word, Excel, or PDF output from it. Usually for companies that need to have, I don't know, health companies, it's one of those that has this requirement to have like what is the status of the execution that they need to ship to someone to be signed to say, yes, we are going to do all of these tests with all of these executions. This is what we agree upon. So they exported it in a Word format, they signed it, they send it back. So usually that kind of bureaucracy is demanded. This is the solution for it. Of course, all of those reports that you have there is also available via dashboards. So all of the reports are available as dashboards. So you can add or customize your own dashboard, adding those bits of reports in customized dashboards. So you can have the coverage, the traceability, test plan, all on the same page and share it with your team, with other teams, to have a nice overview about what you want to show or what you want to highlight from your team. So really fast, this was a really fast introduction for Xray. So now I'm going to show it unless you have any questions or doubts about it. From what I've shown or what execution that you have been done with it. Let me switch the presentation while you're thinking about it. So much windows.
Everything is clear, right?
That is
Okay. So this is what looks like to have, so no doubts, right? Forgot to silence this. Okay, so this is what looks like to have Xray installed on your project. Doesn't seem much from here, but you have one extra entry here that is the testing board. It will allow you to access the area of Xray. We have the reports and the definition, the settings of Xray. One of the things you will notice once you install it, and I'm showing the cloud version. I don't know which one you use, but this is the cloud version. Once you have that installed, you will see that you have, the test plan, test case, test set, test execution, and precondition available for you to create. And let me just show you one of these. So this is a test that is linked to, actually, this is a user story that is linked to, this is a test, it's a link to a user story. The user story is already done, and it's here linked. And in here, on the the test, you will see this area that is not usual in Jira issues, that have all of the test details. You can see the type of the test. In this case, it's manual. And you can see that I've already had some custom fields here. My browser step 1, step 2 are custom fields. And what comes by default is action, data, and expected results. So you can define all of the steps here, as many as you want. You have also the ability to call other tests within it. So instead of replicating, I don't know, the login for all of the tests, if you need a login, you can define one test that is a login, and then you call that test on other tests. And it will be automatically including those steps on the execution. It will look something like this. So this is a 2-step test case that is included from another test. What will happen when you execute it is it will unfold the steps of the test, and what we will see is a series of steps instead of seeing the link between those. And this is the manual one. I'm not sure I have the other ones here, but I'm going to switch. So we have the possibility also to have, this is another manual, but I'm going to switch. To have a cucumber one, where you can write your scenario. So in here you can write your given something. Then
I have one question.
Yeah.
When we add a precondition, I'm starting to use this test type cucumber.
Yeah.
And I added a precondition, but it's not visible that the precondition is there. So,
Yeah.
or either, maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. But if I add there a precondition, is there any way to be more visible?
Well, you have,
So that
yeah, if I had a precondition here, it will appear on this tab. It's not visible directly.
on the first page. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have here, and once
So we
you are,
always have to click there to see if there is a precondition or not.
yeah,
What I'm doing is I'm adding on the description.
if there is a precondition or not. Yeah, but all of these little tabs here had information on Xray. You have preconditions, you have,
But I think that will be useful if there is some link or something that's more clear.
I have the same issue. I started to use preconditions on my project.
yeah,
The delivery manager complained about that because it was not clear, the preconditions. And
Okay.
the other teams didn't know about preconditions, so it was a mess.
yeah.
I needed to delete the preconditions and add the steps as a given. So
The
making that more visible in the test details, that would be awesome. Because the people don't know about the preconditions, and they are very useful.
on the test details,
A useful improvement.
yeah. So where you have more visibility over them is when you are executing the test.
Okay.
Because if you have a manual test with a precondition and you are executing that, it will have, I'm going to show you a precondition field on the execution part, but it's on the manual test. I don't know if you are using that.
On Jira, we don't have that visibility.
Yeah, when you open the test.
Yeah, when you open the test, you need to access here.
We need to go to that.
Like to know if they are part of a test plan, you also need to click here or
What's a precondition? I think it's more.
Yeah.
They are more good. You know? It's like you are extracting the givens.
Yeah, something like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the linked byte for preconditions.
When non-QA people open the test, they don't see the preconditions on top of the steps.
Yeah.
They don't understand. They don't understand that they need to go to the preconditions.
Oh, because you are not.
If they are not, probably they are not QAs, they are business people.
Yeah. No, the thing is, we added it when we thought it was needed. That is when you execute. So let me see if we have one here. Let me just add one just to show.
Maybe if we could add something on the test details that indicates that we create the precondition or the number, because when we create a precondition, we create this is a new type of issue. The number, I don't know.
Yeah, let me just show you what I mean when So I had a precondition, and I can create a new test execution. With the default. This will take me to an execution screen where we will have more information to execute the manual steps. Where you have the precondition here.
Oh.
So once you, well, this one has no steps, but once you reach here and you are actually going to execute the steps and follow the steps, you will have here the information about the user story that is linked, the precondition, and any finding already done, so any defect that it may be linked to the execution, any evidence that you may have had it, or any comment.
But this is when we execute manually.
Yeah. If you are executing...
Sometimes you need to share the test with your product owner, for example,
Yeah.
for them to review the tests, and they don't see the
They don't.
You need to
Yeah.
tell them, look, there's this precondition you need to do before.
You need to click,
Sometimes they complain about it. I get your point.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
put on that
It's a good suggestion. Because at the end of the day, you guys are using it, so you feel the pain more than me. So this is, this is
I
it.
have another question,
Yeah.
but it's related with the reports.
Uh-huh.
Regarding the defects and bugs, we don't have I don't remember to have a predefined report, or we have for the...
For bugs,
Yes.
we don't have, no, actually we don't. What we have are more focused on executions.
Because what we are doing, we are creating a dashboard with the defects, or we have defects and bugs. Bugs when it's for production for the environments. Sorry for my English because
It's okay.
I
I don't know if online can you hear what she said, or you want me to repeat?
So we are using a dashboard.
More or less.
More or less, okay.
But I'm asking
I can
if
understand, but
there is
context, but
my English is...
Go ahead. I will repeat the question
I'm
after.
asking if there is another way to report the defects, the bugs, for the...
So you're asking if you have like a report focused in bugs in order for you to analyze via bugs or defects what's happening in the project.
I don't remember to...
No, we don't have anything focused on defects or bugs. Well, we focus more on the test and on test execution. And if, for instance, you have created defects during that execution linked to that test, you will see those. But doing that analysis other way around, so focusing on bugs and then drill down to the other way, we don't have that out of the box.
But
So-
you can get it from Xray.
From the, we use
Yeah.
the dashboard
Yes.
with the
With-
status, if it's done or if it's, I don't remember.
With the status of the defects.
Yes, because sometimes they are cancelled or with the status on the board, on the sprint board. Because sometimes the...
Oh, you have a column where you push
Yes,
the bugs.
If there is if it is in development or if it's done.
Yes,
Okay.
but since
So-
the bug is an issue type from Xray, this is why I believe Cristiano is not something that is included in the Xray reports.
Yeah, like I said, if it's linked to executions, to tests, you will have visibility over it, but focusing or doing the analysis the other way around. Yeah. So let me just drill down a little bit on the reports that we have. So we have test coverage report, as we are speaking about reports. It will give you, in here I'm just grouping by component. So in each one of the tasks I'm adding a component label for for the team to know or associate the components. The sun is really in my eyes now. And then you can analyze all of the requirements by components, but you can use also priority or status, whatever means more to you or how you are used to do. And in here I have a clear view, for instance, that one high requirement doesn't have any execution, so it was not run. I can click over it and know that this is the requirement, and it has 3 tests, but no execution on it. For instance, in here, I have one low requirement that actually has a failed test. And if I want, I can click on it and see exactly what's happening. This gives you an overview, not of the bugs, of course, but if the execution has failed, usually something is wrong. So if you used to create bugs every time it fails, probably you will have an association here. If not, it will give you the ability to analyze what went wrong and then drill down until, I don't know, the pipeline or something to give you more information about it. You have also the traceability that may help a little bit on what you are saying, but will give you, if you have a huge amount of issues, it will be hard to follow. But in here, I can see, well, I have a column for defects, so I can see what are the defects that are linked, for instance, to this tests that are linked to this user story. And I can see, well, this user story is not okay because the test has failed and all of the executions are failed tests. And I can drill down and try to analyze why it's happening and have an overview here. I can filter by not okays in here just to see the user stories that are not okay, and it may help you to try to find out what happened.
In my opinion, I think we have a lot of reports for the sprint,
Yeah.
But I think it's missing they are missing reports for the defects.
For the defects.
For like graphics or tables that I don't know.
I'm quite sure afterwards Cristiano will collect all your improvements list, okay?
Yeah. If you have suggestions,
Yes,
please let me know all of those things that you are suggesting.
I use almost all of those reports
Yeah.
but at the end of the sprints, we have a lot of projects at the same time, and I know all the reports. So
Cristiano is the best person. He's a solution architect, so you can give a list of improvements.
And even if it's not by me, you can use our Jira to do suggestions, and then we have a voting system. So if you manage to have a lot of votes on your suggestion, it will make it into our roadmap and probably be on the next feature. But I can take them also.
Okay, everyone votes. Okay.
You make one, and then everyone. So the other one is the test plan metric that is focused on test plans. So in here you can see for each test plan what's happening, how many tests are part of it, how many have failed, how many are not executed, how many have passed, and you can have by test plan reference of how things are going. So it's an interesting way of looking at things. And all of these reports are available in dashboards. So I'm just going to show you that I pre-prepared, but all of these are gadgets from those reports that you can add. You can define different filters for it. You can create different tests for it and understand, well, expose the information that you see valuable for your team or for anyone that you want to share with, anything that is now on the tip of your fingers. So I think this one is really valuable. At least it's the one that we share with other teams sometimes because they don't need to ask how the things are going. They can just access it and see what's happening. So let me just share with you also documentation. So we have, and this is one thing that I always talk about because I'm proud of it, and we do a lot of it. So we have majority of the documentation is done by who is developing the features, but we have test tips and tricks that are developed by solution architects and my team. And we have here, depending on what you are searching for, what you are trying to integrate with, tips for, I don't know, if I'm using JUnit, or if I'm using Playwright, or if I'm using Cypress. I have tutorials with code in GitHub that you can download and try it out. And you have step-by-step of an example of one application that's available in this case in Cypress. You have some tests defined, how to execute those, and at the end, how to integrate with Xray. You can do it via API, Jira UI, and you have a series of plugins that we have available. For instance, for Jenkins, if you're using it, you can use Jenkins plugin and just add a last step, push the results to Xray, and it will do exactly that. We have for Travis CI, we have for Bamboo, but even if we don't have a plugin, we have the ability to using an API call like this one to push the results. So it's easy adding a curl command at the end of the pipeline or bat file or something like that, just to push the results back to Xray.
Quick question: are you showing something about the API? Because right now I'm seeing the dashboard.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I was actually. Let me just. Yeah.
Thank you.
I was switching tabs, and probably the tab you didn't see it. Let me just try to do this differently. Entire screen. Where is the?
I think you can just right click on the tab and share it.
Sorry.
If it's a different tab inside Chrome, you can right click and share it.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to try it.
I think if you, I can see the same. Below the URL, there's a button.
Oh, yeah.
This tab instead.
Okay.
You can see because
Nice. So sorry. Let me. Yeah. Nice one. This. Thank you. It will save me a lot of time. Yeah, I was showing this one. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just showing this documentation you have for cloud, for server, and you have a lot of examples for automation, for we have done with tools for accessibility, with visual testing, with API tools. We have API testing with a lot of examples. We have done a lot of performance. So all of this will show that we really don't care what is the automation framework or tool that you use, as long as you are able to push results toward Xray that is ingested, and then we will show that in our site. We have done things with some tools where they had like a link where you can see the results on their tool, like the API tools. Highs is actually a tool that a visual test tool that will allow you to do visual comparisons of all of the pages that you have. Once you're done, you execute, you can ship the result back to Xray, and on the report you will have a link that will take you directly to their tool to see all of the details that you have there, and right back to Jira also. So we have a lot of examples here, and most of the doubts should be here answered. Not the bug one, but we will work on that.
Can you give us a glimpse of the Cypress?
Yeah, I'm actually going to show you exactly the Cypress. Yeah. I was hinted by someone that tell me that you use Cypress. So I have here, it's the example I have here. Yeah.
I'll share this
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, here we go. I have an audience that is really on top of things. Yeah, so I have a GitLab project that is actually a replica of what we have on the tutorial. It's a really simple example where we have, let me just show you, a simple file with the config is nothing. And we have some really easy tests, just accessing the application, and it's the to-do application, so what they will do.
The window bug is also fixed, so you can stand up if you want to.
The window,
Won't bother you anymore.
Thank you. Nice support team we have here. Always taking care of everyone. I was thinking that you were doing the... No, not yet? Okay. So, yeah, so we have, what I have here is a series of tests, so normal projects. We have here, I have defined GitHub Actions. That is actually a file that will, let me show you, that is actually just pushing the code, or pulling the code in this case, in a Ubuntu machine is just installing the dependencies and then running the tests. Using npm tests, it's just doing the npx Cypress run and running the tests, just showing the results for debug. And then we have an action that is actually written by partner of ours, that is this Mike Pence, and we have actually contributed with him in order to create this. And it's something that you can use in, it's a GitHub action that you add, and then you define, you can use the version for cloud or server, and you just define your username, password. Of course, if it's cloud, it's not username, password, it should be API key and secret, and then define the test format. We support several test formats that you can use. Tell what is the XML that is part of it. If you want to add the test plan key or project key, you can add it here. This is just the GitHub action, and I have defined it on the settings, those variables. Sorry about that. It's just recovering. And recovering again. All good? You have a blink? Is everyone there? Yeah. Okay. So I was showing the secrets. We don't going to see the secrets, but we're going to see that I have defined it here. My client ID, my secret, my project key, my test plan key. So once let me just show you getting back to the project. Let me hope that, so I have here a test plan that I've created for this presentation. Should be empty, just cleaned it. So no tests, no test executions. And if I rerun all the jobs, it will rerun the action that will execute actually the tests and push the results back to Xray. So this is just one of the ways that you can use automation and Xray together. So even if you don't have the tests created on Xray, like I didn't, it will automatically, when you push the results back, automatically create those tests for you on Xray and linked to the execution and linked to whatever you are using in here. If you already have created those, you can add the test case ID here and it will ship the results back to that test case. And you can do that for test execution. I don't advise it, but if you want always to rewrite the test execution, you will lose the history, but it will always update the same test execution for that test. Usually what happens is just a new test execution for you to have the historical executions of all of the tests that you have done. So actually it has executed, so everything is good. This is the cat of the execution result.
Is there any special format for the XML report you need to provide to your action, or is it like the XML report that Cypress returns?
So you can have, by default, if you are producing a JUnit in Cypress, it should work. So we have a series in the documentation, you have that series of support, and you can see in the API probably.
You have to share that.
Oh yeah,
If
sorry.
you are switching tabs,
Yeah. God damn it, tabs. Yeah, so importing your execution results, you can have any of these supported types. If you are not producing anything like that and you are building an awesome customized framework that produces its own result, you can work with Xray JSON. That is actually our way of defining test cases. It gives you a little bit more ability for you to handle specific things, give you probably the ability to add extra things that are available via JUnit or NUnit or XUnit or TestNJ or something like that. Coming back to here. So everything is green. Oh, sorry. I will not get it until the end of the presentation. So coming back to the GitHub Actions, it has actually executed here. And we can see. Now coming back to, I'm going to share it, just a second. Not this one. Just, okay. If I reload this, we should see all of the tests that were executed, their status, and the execution results. So we have 5 tests that are passed. We have here the summary that was extracted from what was written in the automation. So it has created 5 generic tests, and we can see that it has, on the test execution, it has created 1 execution with the results, and we can actually, if we go to the test execution, we will see more details about it for each one of the tests. So this test execution is contains the execution of those 5 tests, and each one of them will have on that execution screen that I show you for manual tests, also the results for the automation. Depending on the details that you have in here, it's green, so nothing to say, but if you have a stack choice, it will be here on the output. If you are able to take a screenshot, it will add it here. If you had an attachment, depending on the framework of the tool, you will have more or less abilities to add these custom things towards Xray. So,
quick
question,
sorry. So you have defined the test plan key on GitHub Actions, right? You executed the test, and then the test execution is automatically created.
Yeah, and the tests also.
And the tests, yeah, because you are not updating, you are creating new tests. Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
I just added the project key, because you can have multiple projects, and the test plan key.
Yeah.
It will link, well, if you have the tests there, it will, if I run again now, it will create a new test execution for the same tests with a new result. And if I delete everything, it will recreate the test cases and create the test execution and put the results there.
But you need to have a test plan created.
In this case, if you wanted to link it to the test plan, you can. If you don't, it will just create tests and put it there and give you, and you have to access it and do the links.
You will create an execution with the test results, but if you don't provide a test plan.
You don't need to create anything. If you don't provide the test plan, you can just execute and say the project. It will create tests there and test executions and push the results there. They just won't be linked to any other entity. They will just be tests in your project. So they are not linked to anything. If you want to...
The test will be executed, so they will be linked to the test execution.
Yeah. You'll have an object that is tests and test executions. But I'm saying that the test is not linked to a user story or an epic or anything if you don't define it on when you are shipping it back. We have ways, let me see.
Just another question,
Yep.
sorry. And how does Xray know that the test already exists? Is it based by the name or something like that?
Yeah, I can show you. Let me just...
Okay.
If
Yeah, so-
we run again, this will rewrite?
It will, if you run again, it will create a new test execution. So let me see.
The same test plan.
Associated with the same test plan. You will have the same 5 tests.
A new test execution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I click one too much. Let me just get back to the active sprint. So it will maintain these tests, but will create another entry here that will hold the new execution of those 5 tests. And I can do it and just show you. Let me just answer the question. So it has created this generic the generic tests automatically. And what it does, it's actually extracting, I believe that is file name and method name. So this definition here is a combination of method name plus location plus something else that is trying to create a unique ID that then will link back to the test. And every time it executes, it tries to rebuild this. And if it finds a match, it will link the results back to it. That's why we have this definition here.
Thank you.
So for the new execution, it will use the tests, the same tests that were created at the first time, or will create another new one?
Switch projects.
Let me. The first one.
Yeah, let me just execute it again, as we are here. So while it's executing, so what will happen, hopefully, is this will maintain. What will be updated will be the result. So the overall execution result that you have here, imagine that now it fails, it will be updated with the new result. It shows always the latest result, unless you configure it the other way. But by default, it will show you always the last execution. So if you run it more 10 times, it will show you the last execution of those 10 times. The test will be the same, but in here, you will have a new entry with a new test execution. And every time you execute, a new test execution will be created, linked to those tests that will hold all of the details of that execution.
So if we add new tests on the others executions, it will keep the first tests and add the new ones.
I'm not sure what you want to mean with that. If you want to do it in Portuguese, you can. I will translate it. Yeah.
Quer dizer, cada vez que nós vamos executar, fazemos uma execução seguinte, mas já adicionamos mais testes. Vai manter. Eu nem em português estou a conseguir. Vai manter.
Se no test plan.
Nós temos 3 testes. Adicionamos mais 2 testes. Corremos a segunda vez. Ele vai criar os 5 testes ou vai só criar os 2 testes?
Exatamente, vai criar só os novos, certo ou não?
Sim.
Também
So the question.
Ele identifica quais são as antigas.
So yeah.
The new execution, it should be the 5 tests and not the 3.
Yes.
If you, imagine that you have.
Ele cria os testes no giro a primeira vez, a segunda vez vai usar a mesma referência, o mesmo número, certo?
Sim.
E ele consegue ver então que há 2 testes novos, por exemplo, 2 ou 3, e só cria para esses novos.
Sim.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're in your automation or your pipeline or something like that, you had more tests and you link that to the test plan. When you execute it, it will update the 5 original ones with the execution and will add 2 new ones and their execution also. What you will notice difference is in the historic of executions. You will see the first ones with only 5 tests and the next one with 7 and so far and so forth. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get the question? Yeah?
Yeah. And the answer as well. Thank you.
Okay. Let me just refresh this.
Eu não tenho mexido em automação, por isso estou a fazer perguntas assim um bocado.
So it is the second execution. And it has maintained the 5 tests. It has just updated the execution result, but they have all passed. I can try to. You want to see this fail? No.
I do.
You do.
And please, can you add another test?
Yeah.
So
I'm going to do it directly here. So let me see.
Yeah.
If I don't, I will not jeopardize this.
I think you are in raw mode, right?
So we're talking, right?
Yes. Sim, Dalila. E é para ela falar também, não é?
É assim mesmo.
No, this one. So.
Tens que ir ao editor. Acho que estás no voo.
É, fui para o ganhei-me no botão. There we go. Let me see a simple one. This one. So, 19 include not contains with the SP Line, sorry.
19.
Oh, I can change.
Contains.
It will fail. I can change, well, things like that. Simple one. So I have one new test in print and one failed.
Yeah. So what we will see is we will end up with two different executions. One that holds the 5 initial ones, but now one is failing, right? And then a second execution where it holds all 7 tests.
Yeah, we actually already executed a second time. So we already have 2 executions. And now we are going to have a third one.
And the fourth one as well, or not?
No, we will have another one that will have all of the 6 tests.
Ah, okay.
It's just one execution.
Yeah.
For everything else.
Thank you.
Hope it works. I usually use the IDE to do this because it will help me validate this, but just to not be switching around.
Let's go wild. Yeah, it's work.
Let's go wild, but at least it seems like it.
Yeah.
Seems like at least it has executed. One has failed. And there are 6 tests.
Yep.
Okay. Oh. Oh, we have a bug on the action because it's not pushing because it has failed. So we can do... It's not good.
To fix this bug.
Sorry?
I vote to fix this bug.
It's not... Actually, it's a default behavior. So what we need to add is... Do you know the syntax of it? Anyone online here?
No.
No, I had to add to continue even if it fails, and it's like an instruction.
I always need to go to the documentation.
Yeah, me too.
It's like a continue, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. Even if the previous Stack Overflow to the rescue.
Yeah, if always. I need to put the if always. I think that's it. Hopefully.
I think it's continue on error, something like that.
I think that.
Yeah, I was searching for it. Because we are.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm seeing this one, but it's if always. I'm not. Yeah, it should work also, but
That's right.
let's try it.
After all, we are testers, right?
So the syntax is below the name. Not sure if. Second attempt. So actually, this is one of the things that always happens because we are always pushing for having the test passed, and we forgot that when it fails, sometimes the next steps will not be executed. So it really helps if you want to. And one of the things that is valuable is either what happens before, you need always to ship the results back. If they are produced. If they fail before production, of course you cannot, but let's see if it works.
Can I execute this flow in local environment?
Yeah. You can use exactly the same. The action is not available on local environment, but you can use an API call that simulates exactly the same. Okay, seems to have done the trick. At least it's running the action. So let's see. Share this. We have 2, 601, 602. So now we have one extra test, one has failed, and it has added one test. It has updated the overall execution, and on the test execution, we'll see another execution 603 that will have all of the details of this last execution with the failed test and the extra test. Like this, you can have at least an historical view of what's happening on your tests. And this one.
Do you have to show an example? Como é que eu ia dizer? Ao contrário, de ter o teste e passar para ter o teste escrito, por exemplo, em Gherkin e passar para a automação, para a framework. Fazer isto é o export.
Sim, you export the feature. Just to finalize, we have here now on the output the stack trace, exactly what was executed there, so the same message. Another cool thing to add, please add valuable messages to your stack trace, because otherwise saying one line that has failed will not help you debug anything. So I'm not sorry, I lost your name. Yes. Paula is asking if we can show Gherkin example. I don't have one here, but I believe then, and let me show you, well, let me just share this. I believe we have on Xray, so we have a space on GitHub that you can go and see. We have a lot of repositories, but we have actually, well, Java Cucumber, for instance. Let me just see if this is the one. Okay. So in here, in this project, we have prepared like shell scripts that will help you export the features, import the features, depending on what is the flow that you are using. Because like I said, if you choose to write everything on Xray, the Gherkin and Xray, Xray will be the source of truth. So everything that you change on your scenario must be done on Xray. Then on the automation, the preliminary, the step that you need to do before is actually extracting the feature from Xray. It will extract a feature file, and it will be a zip with all of the feature files that you want to extract. You will unzip it, run the code behind, or build the code behind, execute it, and then ship the results back. But every time the Gherkin is changed is on Jira. And the first step on the automation, on the pipeline, or whatever, is extracting the feature. If you choose the other way around, and you just want to show the feature on Xray, but actually what is changing is the automation or the pipeline, what you need to do is do the changes of the Gherkin in your automation framework, and then before sending it, you just update the feature file on Xray, just to be visible there, and then the test executes there. And in this project, and you can check it, I can give you the links after, you have an example exactly of Java and Cucumber, where we have a Docker file where you can execute all of these scenarios, and you have here the examples of how to export a feature, in cloud, and the commands associated to it, and you will see it will create a feature file, and you can then unzip, and you will see the features files there. Of course, you need to be aware to link this to a proper key. So even if you extract this project, you need to redirect it to a project of your own and replace these keys that you have here for the ones that are meaningful to you. Otherwise, you will not find anything. One other cool thing, yeah.
Where do I find this key?
This, the keys are actually,
The number.
yeah, are actually the keys that are here. This XT604,
Because we are seeing
it's
it
Jira
the
issues.
other way. You first create on Jira and then
Yeah,
Xblend.
depending on what you are doing. If you want to, for the automation to create automatically your test cases, you can do so. And you have the information on the call of the API saying what are the issues that were created. If it's a text execution, a test, or something like that, it will show you a new issue was created and it gives you the ID. For you to be able to go to Jira with that ID and identify exactly what was created. We just want to share one other thing. Do we have time?
Can I just ask one quick thing regarding with what you were explaining? When the source of truth is on the automation,
Yeah.
and you do a change, does the text on Jira updates and saves an history, or it creates a new test case with the new changes from the automation?
It updates the test case. You don't have an history per se. It just updates the test case with the new scenario.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. We have.
But if in case we want to revert, it's not possible.
To revert?
To the previous version.
So you had. So Paula is asking if you want to revert to the previous version. The key of the answer is actually on your question. That is version. So we don't have a version on Xray. Let's say standards. We are launching now an enterprise version of Xray that actually has a set of new features that are available. Things like versioning. So now we created it more in a sense to support the walk towards automation, meaning that most of the teams will have the steps defined in a manual test and then want to switch to automation. But what happens when you do that, you will lose the steps definition. It will be replaced by that generic definition linked to the automation, and you will lose those steps. And we had some complaints about it because even when you are switching to automation, you need to sometimes understand what the automation is doing, and if it's failing, what are the steps that I need to do manually in order to validate that. So we have created the versioning, so we will be able to have one version that is a manual test and the next version of the test that is the automated one. Like so, if you want to close or save one version of the Gherkin, you can attach a version to it and create a new version, and then you have that ability. Quickly, another two things that we have adding to the enterprise version is the ability to execute pipelines in Jira via test plans and test executions. So in the test plan, you can configure on Jira a pipeline in Jenkins, for instance, and on the test plan, you can just say execute this, and you can pass like what are the tests that I need to execute on the pipeline, and it will execute those and ship the results back, of course. And the other one is test case designer. So if you have on the manual test, you have the ability to have data sets. I don't know if you guys use it. It's like parameters where you can have multiple combinations. If you want to have multiple logins, you can have like login, password, and have a table with different values. You can add a data set to the manual step, and with variables, it will replace and unfold all of the iterations that you are defining on the data set. And sometimes if you have a lot of variables there, it's hard for you to know what are the combinations of those variables that are the best or the optimized version that will give you most coverage with less tests. And Test Case Designer is exactly to do that. So it will help you optimize the combinations and give you maximum coverage with less amount of tests. So you do an analysis of all your parameters and suggest all of the combinations that you may do in order to have that on your side. And the next version will also generate the automation for it. Sorry?
It's like that. It's like that data-driven, right? It's that.
Yeah, it's data-driven. Yeah. And
you can have multiple inputs for the same input, or
yeah.
Sorry.
You can have. I can show you. Let me just get back to.
Okay, that's cool.
For the test, just get back to sprints. I'm just going to catch. So this is the manual test. We'll have here some steps defined, and in here, as you can see, I can define a data set, and in here I can define any variables that I want, or parameters, depending on what you want to say. Let's see, param1, and it's a text, and here I can just create another one. Param2, it's a type text, and I can here I'm not very creative, so 3, 3, 4. So, and you can define this here, save. And when you are writing your actions and data and expected result on each one of the steps, you can use this one. It will know what are the variables that are defined on data sets, and you can add them here. And let me add this on the second field. Just to highlight this. Param 2. Okay, I'm going to save it. So in here we have 2 parameters defined with the data set, and this will actually unfold when I will execute this. So when I create a new test execution, we will see on the execution screen, it will do 2 things because we have a data set and we are including a new test in this test. So it will have all of the iterations. You have 2 iterations here that are not showing for some reason. Okay. So this is one of the things. The test steps are invalid, therefore no steps were generated. Please update the test definition. It happens, and it's a useful message because when you are including a test case in another test case and the original one was changed, it will start giving you this warning to warn you that the included test has changed and you need to update the test definition to do that. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to delete the test. Yeah. Just to execute it, the inclusion, because it will actually I just want to show the data set, so it should be good with this. So in here we had created 2 iterations because we have 2 entries on the data set. The first iteration will have replaced with 1, 2. Second iteration will have 3, 4 on the variables that we have defined on data set. And this will allow you to, with writing only 1 test case with multiple values on the data set, we will actually are creating several iterations as much as the combination that you have on the data set. And this can get really wild. So Test Case Designer is actually helping reducing the amount of combination that you have here.
It will work like the scenario outline on Cucumber?
What will? The Test Case Designer?
This thing that you are showing, the data set, does this will work like the scenario outline on the Cucumber?
I'm not sure what you are asking because this is exactly what it looks like. I'm just showing. Yeah, because you define the data set on the test case, the manual one, and then when you are executing, it will automatically replace the parameters.
It's like,
yeah.
But it is better. It is the same thing. It is data-driven.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the scenario outline where you put a table at the bottom. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It does the same thing in theory. Yeah.
Okay.
Last thing before, I just want to show you because we have collaborated with Playwright and we actually made a contribution to Playwright. I don't know. I know you guys prefer Cypress, but well, Playwright is the thing. And actually, you can add one thing that is valuable, and it's part of the contribution that we have done. That is, instead of when you are calling the API defining the test case, the test execution, or the test plan, you can do it in the code in this form in Playwright. So you actually had a test info object that will add annotations on the JUnit, where you can link to test case, change summaries, add requirements to that, or description, specific descriptions. So depending on...
So you are not sharing.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank
No.
you.
Thank you.
No, I was sharing.
No.
Now I'm sharing. Oh, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's it. So this is the contribution we did, and now more than just doing the test and the steps, you can add information and link that back into Xray. This will actually, I don't know if I have an example here.
You need to add all these 4 lines each in each test.
If you want to add some information, you can add. You can do 1 or 2. If you just want to change the description, you just use the description. If you don't want to customize anything, you don't have anything.
Or you link with
For instance, yeah, if you want to link to the requirements, you will add this line. So it will create automatically the test, and while creating it, it will link it to this requirement ID that you have here. If you want them to be this test, if you have already pre-created a test, you will use the test key, and every time it runs, it will link to a test that is already existing in Xray. Depending on what you want to do, you have here several options to do so. And I believe that's it. I just want another thing. I don't know if you guys use exploratory testing. Everyone says yes because it's the thing now. Well, not everyone uses it. Anyway, we have an exploratory app also available as part of the Xray panoply of products. It's actually free, so if you guys want to test it out. It's an application that is a companion that you run on your PC, so it's a desktop application. It runs on Mac, on PC. And it actually will help you do those exploratory sessions and documented it. Because what we've seen is on those journeys of exploring my product, what is hard to do is then replicate the steps that I just did to follow the problem. Because I do a lot of things and explore, it has crashed. And now what I did, it's a little bit lost. So this companion will let you take notes, videos, screenshots, annotate things of all the steps you are doing on your exploration with a timestamp. And at the end, it will create a time plan of everything that you have done, a timeline with chronological order, with everything that you've done. And then if you are using it linked to Xray, you can push that directly to an issue on Xray or Jira. If you're using it independently, you can just export the report in PDF. All of the evidences will be in a directory locally, so videos, images will be there. You have a link on the PDF, and you can use it whatever you want. The other cool things that you can do is actually, instead of executing the manual tests on Jira, you can use the exploratory app to export those manual steps, and then you can follow those steps on the exploratory app, closing that, taking screenshots, adding evidences, and then pushing it back to Xray. So this is it. You guys have anything else?
Yeah, just a quick question. So you mentioned 2 of the paid versions of the operating systems, right? Windows and Mac.
Yeah.
What about the great one, Ubuntu, for example?
Yeah, it will work also in Ubuntu. Better than in Mac, for instance.
Thank you. Nice to know. Thank you.
Yeah. So that is what I have for you. I hope you guys liked Xray. Keep the suggestions coming. We are always open to it. If you guys are going to any conferences, we should be there in most of them. We were in Test Bash last week in Liverpool. It's a cool one to go if you guys are part of Ministry of Testing. We will be in Star West next week, which is United States, a little bit more expensive. And we'll be on Agile Testing Days also on Potsdam, Germany. I'm actually going to do a talk there, so if you guys are around, please let me know. And that will close our our things. So if you want to reach me, I'm available through LinkedIn or Twitter, that is the X now, or Mastodon. Well, everyone is fleeing to Mastodon, but it's not really working, so I'm not sure. But anyway, I have all of those things. If you want to reach me, please do so. If you have doubts or suggestions, keep them coming. If you don't remember me, Dalila will certainly directly to me. So thank you for having me. And this is actually what I have, Xray.
Thank you, Cristiano.